All right. Hello, folks. Welcome to the ninth episode of Transcendence Talks. This is your host, Josh Jovanovic, energy worker, energy healer, energy transmuter. And I have a very special guest today, Cristian Alvarado. He is a Reiki practitioner. He is an angel medium. Cristian, thank you for being on today. I am excited to have you on here, hear about your journey, and I'll let you introduce yourself to the whole podcast.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joshua. And just like Joshua said, my name is Cristian Alvarado. I'm a Reiki practitioner. I'm also a somatic breathwork practitioner, and I am an angel medium. So right now, what I'm currently doing in my journey is I'm guiding others who are experiencing trauma and any unhealed wounds from their past. And I'm guiding them through somatic breathwork sessions. That way they can release the unstuck energy that's in their body, any past traumas that they're holding on to, because just like we have a subconscious mind, which stores a lot of negative beliefs, we have a subconscious body. So we tap into that during those sessions, and I use Reiki to move that energy around while we're doing the somatic breathwork sessions. And during my sessions, I almost always, 99% of the time, connect to divine beings
Love it.
with angelic frequencies. And I usually get a lot of messages to give to my clients, give them guidance, give them reassurance, give them messages of healing, of wisdom, and that's pretty much how the sessions goes. And yeah, it's just really helping others wake up and step into their soul purpose in their life, because a lot of us are doing things that we kind of just land in these positions or in
Yeah.
these, and my goal is to rebuild their faith, rebuild their connection with God, the universe, source, whatever they want to call it. I call him God. And yeah, just really follow the path that they're meant to be in this world,
I
because we're
love that you
here.
said the part about how we just fall into this. And I want to ask you about this. I have two questions for you because one about the breath work, of course, but the thing I was going to ask you was for me, the way I came into all this, I wasn't really a religious person. No, I wasn't religious at all. I was the opposite. I thought it was all just, oh yeah, right, we're sinful. Sure we are.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. I'm not doing something right. Why do I exist? Things like that. But I was spiritual a little bit because I could feel things, and my mom passed away when I was younger, and there were weird coincidences that I used to call them coincidences that happened. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that just seems too whatever for that to randomly happen. But then the one thing that really got to me was I microdosed on mushrooms for a while. And when I
Mm-hmm.
say microdose, like a very little bit, not I wasn't tripping at all. I just did it because I was in finance, I was miserable, and I needed something to kind of level me out. And I always felt, even when I was younger, there was something to our consciousness. Cause I remember like being like 12, 13 years old at this pond with my brother, and we were fishing, and I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. Even at that age, not knowing anything, I used to go, I know I'm Josh, but like, who is Josh? And I would get this weird feeling from, now I know it was really like the observer behind everything, like kind of pulling itself forward.
Yeah.
But mine came from just the most random experience. I was by myself in my apartment. I already had pretty much gone through my own healing journey alone. Um,
Wow.
Deep depression, almost you can say. It wasn't a depression, but it was, you know what I mean? Like you could feel it for like 2.5, 3 months of like, who am I? What am
Yeah.
I doing? Talked to a therapist, didn't work for like a week, and I didn't like it. I never thought I would ever do that. Used to pride myself on my intelligence because that was like something I always used to skate by school and work and all these things. And I'm like, that's not working for me. All these
Mm-hmm.
things weren't working for me. So like, I love that you said that it just comes to you, because that's where my angel, I don't know, I still am having a hard time with this, but I don't know if it was myself and like a future version of me or my higher self, which I think it is now, that came to me as this light being and taught me this energy reading frequency that I now have. And I can change energies in rooms. I can feel energies in rooms, and it's really cool. But I was going to ask you, because we were talking a little bit before this about your finance journey at first, and then you got into this about a year ago. How did this all come to you? And what is the breath work technique you're talking about? I know that's a loaded question, but we'll kind of start off with the how did this all come to you and how did it fall into your lap?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of a long story, but I'll try to, give you the footnotes.
Elaborate on it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so with me, I mean, I've been in the banking industry like kind of right after high school. I was a teller. I did personal banking. I also did retirement banking. I help people with their retirement plans, 401ks, with SEP plans, IRA plans. And then I started getting into project management, and that was my last position. And that I worked at the with the banking industry. And during that time, I already knew. I'm like, wow, how did I make it this far in? I know I'm not supposed to be here. And in the background, while I was going through that work crisis, I'll call it a crisis because I wasn't happy. I was also going through a very toxic relationship with, someone from my past. And
Gotcha.
at the same time, a lot of my childhood trauma started surfacing. It was scary. I was a big time people pleaser, kind of like you. As a child, I questioned everything. I just knew that a lot of things didn't align with me, and I knew that I was here to do things differently, but I was afraid to be seen. I am a gay man, so I was made fun of back in the day a lot in high school, and I'm sorry, in elementary school, high school. It started off since I was a child. I
Okay.
was 6 years old, and the bullying didn't stop ever until like high school times. So that made me even feel less confident with myself. I couldn't show my true colors. So I shut down and I started people pleasing. I started following the crowd. I started doing, all the things that we're programmed to do in this world.
Yeah.
And I just knew it didn't feel right. And that's when I started really healing about two years ago. That's how I got into breath work because I had so much stored emotions. I didn't know how to express myself. I do. I didn't have the best relationship with my dad. I'll be very transparent. My dad was very abusive, verbally, physically, and he kind of taught me not to express my emotions. And I don't want to be the victim or anything. I do not believe in victimhood or anything like
Yeah,
that,
I
but
get you.
it's just what happened,
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
and I'm not blaming him. Like I appreciate and honor my path because it got me to where I'm at.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the breath work allowed me to really tap in and go inward with myself and release all the heaviness, all the baggage, all the sadness, the depression, the people pleasing, the anxiety that I was holding onto my body, and it allowed me to release everything. I swear to you, I cried for almost a whole year, every day. And not just like a little cry. It was a hysterical cry, like a child having a tantrum.
Yeah. All right.
And it felt really good because I was getting some scary symptoms because I had so much stuck energy, so much stuck emotions in my body. I got prescribed insomnia pills, I got prescribed high blood pressure pills, anxiety pills,
Of course,
depression
that's how it
pills,
goes, right? Yeah.
like everything. And I did try to take the medication, but it made me feel even worse. And I would tell the doctor, and the doctor would just say, yeah, you just got to keep taking the medication for maybe a month. And I was just like, okay, wow, I'm not gonna do this. So I think I took it for like a couple of days and I just stopped and I just started doing my own research. One of my aunts actually taught me, was trying to get me into breath work for a couple years now, and then I finally gave in. And when I gave in, that's just when my life changed with breath work and energy healing and connecting with higher beings. I started trusting my own intuition, started going inward and following my heart and um, just really, really trusting the path that I was in and
I love
just
that.
knowing that everything in my past was here to teach me something so I can
Yep.
help others get out of the same funk that I was in because there's a lot of people experiencing what I experienced.
I love that. The big part too that you said there was one, I love that like you did your own research on things. And I really came to this conclusion a couple months ago is like really a way to heal yourself because like we can help as much as we can, but we can't be the people that we're going to help. Like they need to feel their own things when they go through this, because there
Yeah.
will be more people awakening. And what happens is you need to feel the emotion, but don't become it. Because when
Right.
you start becoming the emotion is when like it starts to spiral into something. And there's that, forget the exact study done, but it's like after 17 or 19 seconds of thinking about the same thing over and over, your brain
Oh
starts to
yeah.
spiral into whatever else it can think of that's near that. So it can be a lot of negative feelings or a lot of negative emotions, which I give you so much credit to be able to go through what you went through. Cause I know what I went through, and every person, I see you as a version of me, just in a different body. Like you just went to, that's why I don't judge anyone. I don't feel like you should, because it's like we're all the same. We all go through these things. And I feel like the people like myself, like you, that were able to pull ourselves out of the shit and be honest with ourselves, be open with ourselves. And like you said, specifically, like you said, to be grateful for the opportunities, but also the growth that we've had
Hmm.
propels you forward in this, like what you could call it a spiritual journey. But the one thing that really hit me there that I wanted to ask you about, for me, when you say angels or your, you know, your angel frequency, I had my experience of seeing and telepathically hearing and being taught by literally like a ball of light in my apartment window. And I just felt this bliss over me, this lovingness, this kindness. And I've been growing this, my frequency, my vibration, whatever you want to call it. I've been growing it for a while. And for the last year, it literally started as this little ball in my stomach. And now I can feel it. It's everywhere. And like I feel energy now and I meditate with it. I feel it. But my view of the angel frequency or whatever it may be
Hmm.
was really like a feeling of it. Like I don't see anything. Sometimes in meditation I might get some colors and things, and but I don't see anything, and I rarely hear anything telepathically. I more feel these things now because I feel like that's like my gift to the world, is to feel and transmute energy. How do you, what is your specific gift, or what would you think it is when it comes to, you know, these angelic frequencies or beings that you speak with?
Nice. Yeah. Wow. I like how you shared everything about like how you feel the energy. So you're definitely a clairsentient. Like you have a strong feeling of things.
Yeah.
With me, when I connect with angels and higher beings, for me, I can see them in my mind's eye. So, like with you, I can, if I were to connect with you and, really tap into your energy, I can see like how many angels are around you, like in my mind's eye, and I can see them like in your background. I can't see them in the physical yet. I actually do have a friend, his name is Danny Michaels, that can see them.
Okay, that's
But with
cool.
me, it's just in my mind's eye, and then I also feel it. I feel it's a frequency. I feel so much love. Like the vibration is so high, and sometimes I get questioned, like, "Oh, like how do you know they're angels, or how do you know, they're like beings from the heavens?" And it's just a knowing. You just know. Like
Yeah.
especially like if you're getting messages that are for healing or that come with love, that come with wisdom, it's with good intentions.
Yeah.
And obviously, if it's not coming from that state of love, then it's obviously not going to be an angelic being who's giving you messages.
I agree. The big thing too is I've noticed through this journey, especially in the beginning, when it first happened to me, I, first of all, I woke up, I thought it was a dream because it was like a 4 or 5 hour energy session that I was put through where I was taught these things. So when I woke up the next day, I thought it was fake. Then I thought it was like an alien that came to my apartment because I was really big in aliens and things like that. I truly thought it was like, hey, am I going to be abducted? Then I thought, because like I don't know, and this is why I wanted to ask you this in case, because there's going to be more people waking up at they're every day it's happening, but
Absolutely.
I felt my consciousness level has expanded to points now where in the beginning it felt like I was going nuts. Then
Mhm.
I would get into like an okay feeling of like, oh, I got a couple days here doing really well. Then back to nuts again. Then it keeps going and going and going until like I don't know yet because it's still only been about a year, a little more.
Yeah.
But it feels to me like it's this roller coaster until you really get a good grasp on things of expanding your consciousness to a point where like you just know things
Yeah.
that are either coming or that you should be doing, or you get signs and synchronicities. I was going to ask you, mine was a wild ride in the beginning to where if you knew me from June 12th to June 13th of last year, you would have said literally, a whole new being emerged. But what happened for you when it happened, when everything happened in your case?
Oh, absolutely. Kind of like you. Last year was massive transformation, massive awakening. I knew I was going through a spiritual awakening like 2.5 years ago, almost three. But last year was just the biggest awakening I've ever had. Like with me, it was just a feeling that I need to let go of a lot of things. I let go of the relationship, I let go of the job. I stopped drinking alcohol. I
Yeah, me
stopped
too.
drinking caffeine. I'm almost a year with no caffeine. I've been a year without alcohol already. So kind of like you, like last year, I am unrecognizable. Like I don't party no more. I don't do
Yeah,
drugs anymore how I used to.
same.
Um, I don't have a lot of friends that I used to anymore. I love those friends so much. It's just that, we're on different paths and, I
So
still love
weird.
and support them, but we just don't talk that much anymore.
Yeah,
And I like how you bring up the aliens too. I know you said that you were into aliens.
big time.
Um, yeah, I am too. Like I really respect the aliens because like I know they're trying to connect with us, and I know they said the government supposedly has some like in the lab or something like that's what I heard. I don't really pay too much attention to the news. It's just the little that I see on Instagram.
Yeah, yeah,
But I really do believe that, the aliens are really here. They're trying to connect with us because they're trying to help the consciousness of the world raise. And they obviously come with higher technologies and they have a lot of healing abilities. And
yes.
obviously, the government doesn't want that. So they're trying to hide that from us. But I really do feel that the aliens are here with really great intentions.
It's weird though because like I had so my friend Alina, she was on here 1 or 2 episodes ago. She is like I don't know exactly how it's all, how everybody puts themselves in these different categories or whatever, but she's like a Palladian star seed here.
Okay, yeah.
And she literally like sees some of these beings. They come to her when she's sleeping sometimes, when she's awake. And I just know that there's something else that we're all connected to that's like a one consciousness thing that we're slowly tapping into. And the more you tap into it, the more things start to expand. And I know that for me, the way I've been looking at this recently is one, we're in like the coolest possible, like whatever our soul picked, because I believe our soul contracts are like we come here for a certain reason and to learn things and take it back when we go, when we pass away. But I'm very grateful that it's this time. Although I will say this, because you were talking about the friends and the job, I don't have any friend. Well, let's not say I still love them. They're still my buddies, but I never talk to them anymore. And when I do, it's just a hey, what's up? How's Florida?
Yeah.
Two, all my finances went to shit because it was just a complete revamp of my whole life. Three, I've followed signs that before I saw as signs, but I never really saw them as signs, if that makes sense. Like I thought they were, but I was like, it's whatever. I've learned to trust that internal GPS system, that intuition, because what I've started to notice is when you do that, you are one, not only growing your own consciousness, but you're also understanding like you are here and you know what to do. You just have to truly start trusting in your path and what you're doing to like continue on it. Because if you would have said to me in finance with a great job a year ago, making really good money, hey, here's where you would be a year from now. I would have, first of all, I would have looked at that old person and been like, you don't know me, just whatever. I was always kind to people, but I would have been like that. I would have wrote them off. Now I
Yeah.
look at it as what a wild ass journey I've been on to get to this spot of now I'm helping people. Mine's really because I used to be I won't even say used to because I'm so far past it now, but I used to do a lot of drugs and alcohol. So far past that now that now that's my like calling and my purpose is to help others get over that. But
Mm.
my main thing was going to be for you was how do you feel like this last year for your journey has been? Has it been similar where like things kind of fell apart, now they're getting back together? Has it been a pretty consistent ride for you? Because there are going to be a lot of people going through this and they should know how it will be for them as well. And even though everybody's different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is a great question. Because no, I mean, with mine, it hasn't been like a linear, it hasn't been a linear upgrade.
Yeah,
It's been a roller coaster. I'm not sure if you know about like the solar flares that have been hitting,
I
the
sure do.
Earth,
The
and
Schumann
it's
resonance.
obviously exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
So that is obviously raising the vibration of everyone in the earth, but we obviously have to heal what we have stuck internally.
yeah,
So there's been things that are resurfacing for me and they're coming up to be healed so I can take in that higher energy and allow it to do what it's supposed to do in my body. And I'm just going to bring back breath work because that is just a powerful modality that I continue to do anytime I feel that there's, things that need to be healed that are resurfacing. I go and do a breath work journey. It's very powerful because, like I said, you dig into the body, you dig into the mind, into your entire being, and you're removing all those blockages and you're facing the trauma that's coming up to be healed, because in order for you to ascend into a higher frequency, into higher consciousness, you really have to face your trauma, and the trauma is not just going to come all at once,
yeah,
because just imagine if it did. Like, oh my gosh, I'd probably be dead right now. Like,
yeah. I get you.
it'd be too much to handle, so it's going to come in waves. And the beautiful thing is that in every wave that you're going to be experiencing these traumas, you're going to know what to do. It's going to be painful. You're going to feel like it's the end of the world right there and
Yep.
then. You feel like that's just going to be your current state for your whole life. But
Yeah,
you just have to keep reminding yourself, okay, this is only temporary. This trauma that I'm experiencing, or this, negative frequency that I'm experiencing, it just needs a little bit of my attention. Not a little bit, actually, a lot of my
yeah,
attention and a lot of love. Because back in the day when we know when that trauma was built, there was no love whatsoever. So it's coming up, so you can show love to it, so you can reparent it. And yeah, it's not gonna ever be linear. It's gonna come in waves. You're gonna feel bliss and joy and happiness and just wonder during certain periods, and then there's gonna be certain periods of darkness. But when you're experiencing darkness, that is when you find your superpower. So embrace it and honor it every time it comes.
I love that too. The finding the darkness is like, I think that's where a lot of the healing comes from too, is like when you hit that moment and then you realize all is well. I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I had this moment where it was about a month ago, month and a half ago. And like I told you, I went from this finance place to not knowing what I was doing and spending all my money and getting
Hmm.
into a whole different career field and blah, blah, blah. And I'm about to go to sleep. And I'm having this like not dark moment, but a moment that was, what am I doing? I know I'm on the right path, but am I really? And but even though I know I am for sure, I know I am.
Yeah.
But in that moment, because we're all human,
Yes.
you have like a what is going on? What am I? And I had this wild ass something felt while I was laying down about to go to sleep, like it grabbed my brain, shocked it, and alls I heard was, and not in English or anything, but telepathically, this woman say, "The universe supports you." And I
Yeah.
was like, "All right, perfect. I'm back on my path again." So it's weird how in your moments of need, or the moments where you kind of break down, when you get back to your breath work, which I was doing, when you get back to your meditation, when you get back to having those positive affirmations or those positive thoughts, you do get different signs from either angels, or your own mind will go that route. But you'll have these different energies that come to you that are like, okay, I am on the right path. And I think the
Absolutely.
one scary thing is when you've never been through this before,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
you lose your path. So that's how you know you're on the right path, because you've
Yeah.
lost your path altogether.
Yeah.
So for you, if you were just to say, like, what is your path moving forward? I know we try and not plan too far ahead when you're on your spiritual journey,
Yeah.
but what is your path ahead for you, and what does that look like for Christian moving forward to help people?
Honestly, right now, I haven't really thought about that, to
Okay.
be honest, because a lot of the times when I try to plan things and try to foresee like the future, it hasn't worked out for me. So what has worked out for me is just
Yeah.
surrendering to whatever is that is coming my way. You know, I believe in signs very heavily, and for me, everything is a sign now because I'm always asking God and my angels for guidance.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that I teach my that I like to teach my clients, because one of the other things that I like to teach is bringing them back to faith, bringing them back to that knowing that they're always protected, they're always guided.
Yes.
So, we live in a spiritual world, um, and there's higher beings that do want to help us. And the thing is that we have free will, and they cannot interfere with that free will. So whenever we're in the moments of like when we're in a dark place or in a moment of uncertainty, we all we have to do is just call upon them for guidance and for help, and they will intervene. It's just that easy, but it's hard at the same time because like I said, when you're experiencing these dark moments, you go crazy and you think it's the end of the world and you
It
forget
isn't.
about yeah, it isn't. And you forget about your tools. You forget about, the breath work, the meditation, the Reiki, the grounding out in nature. All of
Yes.
that goes out of the window and then you just have to snap yourself back out of it and, pray, call on your angels, call on God or universe, whatever it is that you believe in.
I love
And I
that.
think, yeah,
I was just
yeah,
going to say for you, just because you brought it up, those are like three things that have been my, like, if you could say saviors. Well, four things really. One is um, getting into like a fasting mode. So when I fast, I try and do it at least once a week, 24 hours. But I pretty much have been doing, like, last week I did 2 days. This week I did a day. I'm going to do a day next week. But when I'm in a fasting mode, I feel like I'm really clear consciously. I make better decisions. I'm not lethargic. I'm not tired. I'm not upset. I just have like a better energy to my day, especially I'm dealing with alcoholics and drug addicts every day. So I'm trying to help them, give them advice and things, and it just makes me more
yeah.
present with them, which is good. Two, grounding is huge. I don't think a lot of people notice that because it's like a niche thing now, but that's how we all were meant to be.
Oh
It's
yeah.
got such positive things. Three is meditation. Always gets me back to where I need to be, no matter what I'm doing, especially in the first minute or two when you're real antsy and you're like, I want to get my ass up. Sit down, meditate. You'll be fine. It will help you ground yourself and become more calm. But that fourth thing that really helps me is the breath. And you're right, because like I did yoga for about a year and I've stopped recently. I should get back into it, but breathing through your stomach, letting it come all the way down, because we all are breathing through this and 90% of the planet. And this is a stress response to life, and
Exactly.
everybody's doing it. And you notice, how do babies breathe? No anxiety, no stress, breathe through their
Right.
belly, goes up, get more oxygen to your brain. But I was going to ask you, since I know we're not right on time yet, but if there's any kind of advice you can give to somebody on how to breathe or what type of breath work they can do to kind of release some of that, that'd be awesome to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the breath work that I teach, it's very simple. It's diaphragmatic breathing. So you literally just breathe in through your nose. And when you breathe in, I really want my clients to take that breath all the way down to their belly, all the way down to their sides, their lower back, their chest, their neck, all the way up to their crown area, and just really get that full 360 breath. Because as you mentioned earlier, we're all breathing from the chest up, or even from the neck up,
Yeah,
and that causes a stress response, like you mentioned. So I always like to have them set reminders like on their phones. We have devices that we're on all the time on their phones, on their laptops, like maybe every hour, every couple hours, whatever
I
you
like
feel
that.
that you need to, remind yourself to take deep breaths and to check on to see and to check on yourself too, because sometimes we're in stressful moment at work and all we're doing is just working and we just forget about to take care of ourselves. And during these check-ins with the breath, I always like them to check in with their body to see if they need to stand up, if they need to stretch, if they need to maybe work on something else. Maybe call a friend if they're going through like a hard time, or go step out on a walk. Go outside in
Yes.
nature and walk. Um, so that's my best recommendation. And check to see also if you're, when you're working, or when you're on your day-to-day tasks, to see if you're holding your breath. Because if you're holding your breath, I used to do that all the time. There might be some there might be some trauma that you haven't worked through that your body's holding on to. And to release that trauma, you're going to want to do a somatic breathwork session with, someone in your local community, or with me. I can definitely guide people. I do them virtually and in person. Um, but yeah, the breath is life. The breath is key. It's a
And
life
while we're
force.
there, how do people find you? Because I would love, just in case anybody wants to start working on this, how do people find you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. So, I'm very big on, I use Instagram a lot. That's my main platform. And that is at the vibe coach underscore.
Let me just write this down, make sure I put it in there. At the vibe coach underscore. And send me that when we're done just to make sure I have it, but I'll put it in. I'm sending myself a message now.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much.
All right. Um, and one other thing, well, actually, I had two questions on the way out for you. Okay.
Hmm.
First one is, well, again, as always, thank you. I appreciate this. I think it's awesome when you don't know someone and you get to talk to them and you get to know them. The first question I was going to ask you was, on your journey, and this, I know you said you don't plan too far ahead, which is fair, but
Yeah.
if we're looking backwards, what would be one piece of the most, and I know that's tons of stuff, but just pick and think about it for a second. You don't have to rush it, but just one piece of advice for somebody just starting out. And then the second part of that question would be, what is your number one, what is your number one aspect of this to be able to release that trauma? And I know you said breath work, but is there anything else you can think of? Because I'll be honest with you, when I started, if you would have told me that, I would have never done it. I smoked a vape pen, I couldn't breathe, and all these things. So I had to go a different route and go yoga and eat better at first. But just again, just real quick, two things. One is, what's one thing for them to really focus on if they could? And then what's in, besides breath work, what would be a great thing for them to release some of their trauma?
Yeah, so really, I'm a big advocate in feeling your emotions and expressing your emotions. I think that's really important because I've been there where I was suppressing a lot.
Yeah,
And if you don't sit with your emotions and express them out of you, then what happens? That's heavy, dense energy that's stuck in your body. And you're
awesome.
gonna want to talk this out with someone who you trust. If you don't have anyone, I would suggest, maybe getting a therapist. I know sometimes that doesn't always work for people, but if you really truly don't have anyone to talk about your emotions or your past experiences, it's best to get a therapist. And that those emotions are just energy and motion that want to get released out of the body. And that's the thing, because they want to be let out, but society has told us not to express our emotions, or we were taught
Yes.
as as kids, not to express. And when you don't express, you become depressed, you become suppressed, and it's just all of that energy, it just starts manifesting into illnesses, to be
I love
honest.
that. That's a great way to describe that. And for all of you that listen to this, as you go through these signs and symptoms, and you have, your body will change, your mind will change, your processes that you have through how you function in the world are going to change, your whole life will change. Don't be afraid, embrace it. I wish I would have found more people like Cristian or myself now that I never really looked into. I kind of just wanted to do everything myself and I'll figure it out and I'm level headed and do not do that. If you, I mean, of course, it's up to you, it's your journey, but make it easier on yourself than what you have to go through, because this will be a rough journey, but it is so worth it. You will be glad that you took the journey, and it's still, we're both on our path, buddy. I wish you the best of luck and thank you for all your time. I don't know if you have anything else you wanted to say, but make sure I put everything in there and people find him. He will help you. I will help you. Others will help you find us so that we can help you get through this a little easier.
Thank you, and beautifully said, Joshua. And no, I don't have anything else. Just, trust your journey, trust your path, listen to the signs, trust your intuition, and just always, there's always higher beings there by your side, and ask them for guidance, ask them for help whenever you're in a dark place.
Thank you, my friend. It was good talking to you, and we'll talk again soon. We'll do this maybe in like 3 or 6 months when we're a little bit farther down the journey.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much, Josh. It was great connecting with you.